This struggle is a journey many don't talk about. It's the kind of path where you wonder if you're moving forward or just marching in place. It's the season where heaven feels silent and your prayers echo back to you without reply. But I came to tell you today that God is not absent in the silence. No, friend, God is speaking, God is leading, and yes, God is directing your life even when you don't see it. Repeat 3 words: God is near. You may think he's forgotten you. You may feel overlooked, discarded, abandoned, but our feelings are not the facts. Our tears are not the end. You are not wandering without purpose. God is quietly at work, pulling the strings of providence, shaping you in the fire, molding you in the valley. This struggle, this waiting, this silence, it's not for nothing. It's divine direction disguised as delay. Repeat 3 words: He is working. Let me tell you something. The God who guided Joseph from the pit to the palace never stopped leading. The same God who ordered David's steps from the pasture to the throne is still directing steps today. And sometimes the greatest evidence that God is at work is not the open doors, but the closed ones. It's not the loud shout of a miracle, but the whisper of peace in your soul when everything seems to fall apart. Repeat 3 words: trust His timing. You see, when God is silently directing your life, He leaves clues, not loud, not flashy, but unmistakable to the discerning heart. And today, I want to walk you through 7 of those signs, not 7 random ideas, but 7 truths backed by Scripture and rooted in the eternal wisdom of God. If you're in a season where you're wondering, Lord, where are you? Lean in, because you just might be walking in one of the clearest moments of divine direction. Repeat 3 words: you are guided. Sign number 1, doors that don't open. We often equate open doors with God's approval, but let me remind you, closed doors are sometimes His greatest mercy. When God slams a door shut, He's not punishing you, He's protecting you. You didn't get that job because it would have wrecked your health. That relationship didn't work out because it would have poisoned your purpose. That opportunity fell apart because it wasn't aligned with your assignment. Repeat 3 words. Closed means protection. Friend, remember this. Jesus said, I am the door. And if He is the door, then He's the one who opens, and He's the one who closes. What He shuts, no man can open, and what He opens, no man can shut. God isn't late. He's strategic. He's calculated. He's kind. You may be mourning a closed door, but heaven is rejoicing because it was never meant to be your entryway. Repeat 3 words. Trust the block. Sign number 2. Your plans fall apart. You made the blueprint. You had the steps. You had the vision. But suddenly everything unraveled. Friend, hear me. God is not afraid to dismantle your plan if it means aligning you with His will. Proverbs 16:9 says, a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Sometimes God will interrupt what you want to bring you to what you need. Repeat 3 words. Let God interrupt. I remember when I planned to go one way and the Spirit of God redirected me another. I thought it was failure. I thought I had missed it. But in hindsight, I realized it wasn't a detour. It was divine redirection. God has a way of disrupting your comfort to activate your calling. What feels like destruction is often construction. Repeat 3 words. It's divine disruption. Sign number 3. You're isolated. Some of you are wondering why you've lost friends, why you no longer fit in circles you once enjoyed, why your phone's gone silent, your calendar's empty, and your soul feels alone. But listen, before God blesses publicly, He often separates privately. Isolation is not always demonic. Sometimes it's divine. Repeat 3 words. Separation before elevation. Think of Moses in the desert. Think of David in the cave. Think of Jesus in the wilderness. All were alone before they were elevated. If you're in a season of solitude, don't resist it. Embrace it. God is pruning you. God is preparing you. God is protecting you from people who cannot go where you're going. He's sanctifying your solitude. Repeat 3 words, growth in silence. Sign number 4, you feel restless, that unease in your spirit. That nagging feeling something needs to change, that discomfort with where you are, it's not always a bad thing. That restlessness might be God stirring you for what's next. You've gotten too comfortable, too complacent, and the Spirit of God is moving you out of the familiar and into the unknown. Repeat 3 words. Stirring means movement. When the Israelites got too cozy in Egypt, God allowed pressure to provoke their exodus. When Jonah ran from Nineveh, God sent a storm to reroute him. When Paul wanted to preach in Asia, the Spirit prevented him and redirected him to Macedonia. Sometimes the restlessness isn't a sign you're doing wrong. It's a sign God's preparing you for what's right. Repeat 3 words. Restlessness means transition. Sign number 5, you're stretched beyond your limit. You feel like you can't take another step. The pressure is unbearable. The load is too heavy. But listen closely. God stretches what he intends to strengthen. You're not being broken down, you're being built up. Muscles don't grow without resistance. Faith doesn't grow without testing. Repeat 3 words. Pressure builds purpose. The Bible says in James 1:3, the testing of your faith produces endurance. Don't despise the stretch. It's producing strength. Don't curse the pressure. It's birthing power. God is quietly expanding your capacity so you can carry what he's about to release in your life. You asked for more, and now he's preparing you to hold it. Repeat 3 words. Stretch for strength. Sign number 6. Your prayers shift. You start praying less about getting and more about becoming, less about open doors and more about open hearts, less about provision and more about purpose. That's a sign God is maturing your spirit. You no longer beg God for things. You align with his will. That's how you know he's directing your life. Repeat 3 words. Alignment brings clarity. When Jesus taught his disciples to pray, he didn't start with "give us this day." He started with "thy will be done." Mature prayer is not about twisting God's arm, it's about trusting his plan. When your prayers sound more like surrender than shopping lists, you're walking with God. When your worship increases more than your worry, you're aligned. Repeat 3 words. Surrender brings peace. Sign number 7. You sense peace in chaos. The world around you is shaking, but your soul is anchored. Bills unpaid, relationships strained, doors closed. But deep down there's a stillness. That's not denial. That's not foolishness. That's faith. That peace is not the absence of trouble. It's the presence of God. Repeat 3 words. Peace means presence. Jesus said, "My peace I give unto you, not as the world gives." It's the kind of peace that let Jesus sleep in a storm, the kind that let Paul sing in prison, the kind that lets you say, "It is well with my soul," even when nothing around you makes sense. That peace is proof that God is guiding your steps, even through the storm. Repeat 3 words. God is guiding. Beloved, this struggle is not random. This confusion is not the end. This silence is not rejection. It's refinement, it's preparation, it's divine direction cloaked in stillness. God has not forgotten you. He's not ignoring you. He's directing your life in ways too intricate for you to comprehend. Repeat 3 words. You are seen. When God is quiet, it doesn't mean he's absent. When your path is blocked, it doesn't mean you're cursed. When you're isolated, it doesn't mean you're abandoned. God moves differently than man. His thoughts are higher. His timing is perfect. His ways are mysterious, but they are always good. Repeat 3 words. Always trust him. I know you want clarity. I know you want confirmation. I know you want a voice from heaven telling you exactly what to do. But sometimes God gives direction in the form of peace. Sometimes he speaks through the delay. Sometimes he guides by what he withholds. Learn to discern the quiet cues of the Spirit. Repeat 3 words. Discern his whispers. Your story is not over. Your path is not lost. Your purpose is not derailed. God is the author and the finisher, and if he started something in you, he will finish it. Rest in that. Walk in that. Trust in that. Repeat 3 words. He is faithful. So if you're facing closed doors, rejoice. If your plans are unraveling, praise. If you're feeling alone, believe. If you're restless, lean in. If you're stretched, endure. If your prayers are maturing, celebrate. And if you feel peace despite the chaos, worship. God is quietly directing your life. Repeat 3 words, trust the process. Repeat 3 words, walk by faith. Repeat 3 words, he's with you. When God closes a door, it can feel confusing. It can feel like abandonment. It can even feel like failure. You may have prayed with passion, fasted with focus, and believed with boldness, only to watch the opportunity slip through your fingers. The job didn't come through, the relationship fell apart, the plans unraveled, the answer was no, and in your humanity, it's easy to equate a closed door with divine rejection. But I want to assure you today, it's not rejection. It's redirection. It's God's mercy in disguise. It's heaven whispering, not this way, not this time, I have something better. God does not slam doors to harm you. He shuts them to help you. His no is never meant to crush you, but to cover you. Because sometimes what you think is a blessing is actually a trap. What looks good to your eyes isn't good for your soul. What you think you're ready for could be the very thing that delays your destiny. And so, in his sovereign wisdom and unshakable love, God closes the door. He blocks the path. He disrupts the plan, not because he's cruel, but because he cares. Scripture tells us in Revelation 3:7 that Jesus holds the key of David, and that what he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open. That means when a door is closed by God, no amount of striving, begging, or manipulating can pry it open. And why would you want to force your way into something he is protecting you from? A locked door under God's authority is a wall of divine safety. What may look like denial is actually a form of direction. Often it's only in hindsight that we see the grace behind the closed doors. You realize later that the opportunity would have drained you, the relationship would have broken you, or the timing would have crushed you. What you mourned in one season becomes the very thing you thank God for in the next, because he sees what you cannot. He knows what you do not, and he loves you too much to let you settle for less than his best. So the next time a door closes, don't panic, don't question your worth, don't spiral into doubt. Instead, pause and say, Lord, I trust you. Even when I don't understand, I believe you're protecting me. Let his no lead you to the right yes. Let his redirection stir your faith. Because every no from God is making room for a better yes. Every closed door is saving you from detours and delays. Every divine denial is setting you up for divine destiny. He shuts doors for your safety. He shuts doors for your growth. He shuts doors because he's the God who sees the end from the beginning. So trust the shut door, trust the silence, trust his heart, because what he shuts, no man can open. And what he opens, no man can shut. When your own plans fail, it can feel like your world is falling apart. You carefully laid out your goals. You made the calls, scheduled the steps, counted the cost. You had it figured out, so you thought, but somewhere along the way the path disappeared, doors began to shut, opportunities dried up, people walked away, and the dream you worked so hard to build began to crumble before your very eyes. It's frustrating. It's painful, and it's tempting to believe that failure means you've missed God. But friend, what looks like failure in your eyes may actually be the unfolding of a greater plan in God's hands. God sees what you cannot see. His plans stretch beyond the temporary and into the eternal. He is not intimidated by your confusion, nor is he obligated to follow your roadmap, because sometimes God will allow your plans to fall apart so that his can fall into place. He's not cruel, he's committed to your destiny, and if reaching that destiny requires interrupting your comfort, he will do it. If it means disappointing your expectations to protect your soul, he will do it. Because his will is always greater than your want. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." That's not just a verse, it's a spiritual reality. You can plan all you want, but if it's not aligned with God's purpose for your life, it will be redirected, not out of punishment, but out of mercy, because God knows where that road leads, and he loves you too much to let you go where his grace cannot keep you. You see, divine interruption is one of the clearest signs of God's presence. It may feel like chaos, but it's often precision. It may feel like you're lost, but in truth, you're being redirected. Jonah planned to flee to Tarshish, but God sent a storm to reroute him to Nineveh. Paul planned to go preach in Asia, but the Spirit redirected him to Macedonia. Even Jesus, in his humanity, prayed, "Let this cup pass from me," but then surrendered, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." God isn't trying to crush your plans just to watch you suffer. He's trying to release his better plan, one that leads to purpose, peace, and eternal fruit. So when your plans fail, don't fall into despair. Instead, lean into trust. Say, "Lord, if you're closing this door, I believe there's a reason. If you're interrupting this journey, I believe there's something better on the other side." Remember, he sees the end from the beginning. He writes the story from a heavenly vantage point, and if he's changing your course, it means there's something ahead that's worth the detour. So hold your plans loosely, hold your heart open, and trust that when yours fail, his are just beginning. Seasons of loneliness and separation often feel like punishment. You look around and wonder why the people you once laughed with no longer call. The doors that used to swing open now seem firmly shut. The invitations stop coming, the texts grow silent, and your once busy world becomes painfully quiet. It's in those moments, those long, uncertain nights, that the enemy whispers lies, "You're forgotten, you're not needed, you're unworthy." But friend, hear this clearly. Those seasons are not punishment, they are preparation. What feels like isolation is often the very classroom where God teaches you who you are in him. When God is getting ready to elevate you, he often begins by separating you. Why? Because some callings require solitude, some assignments demand focus, and some lessons can only be learned when you're alone with God. You see, the crowd can't always go where you're going. The noise of approval, attention, and affirmation can drown out the still, small voice of the Spirit. And so, in his mercy, God pulls you back, not to hurt you, but to develop you, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. Think of David. Before he ever faced Goliath in front of a crowd, he fought lions and bears in the fields, alone. Before Joseph ruled in the palace, he was thrown into a pit and then forgotten in a prison. Before Moses led a nation, he wandered the desert for 40 years in obscurity. And even Jesus, before beginning his ministry, was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. 40 days of fasting, temptation, and divine preparation. God has a pattern, and that pattern often includes a season of separation before the public assignment. It's not that you're forgotten, it's that you're being formed. It's not that you've been rejected, it's that you're being refined. He's stripping away the noise so you can hear his voice. He's removing distractions so you can receive direction. He's taking you off the platform so he can build the foundation. In these quiet seasons, God reveals things to you that can't be seen in the spotlight. He shows you who he is, who you are, and what he's called you to do. He exposes false dependencies and strengthens your spiritual muscles. He teaches you how to worship without a crowd, how to stand when no one's watching, and how to trust him when you feel completely alone. So if you're in a season of separation, don't despise it. Embrace it. It means God is working. It means he's preparing you for something greater. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. He's not withholding people from you. He's drawing you closer to himself. Let the silence shape you. Let the solitude sanctify you. Because when the time comes and he calls you forward, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and fully ready for what he's prepared in advance for you to do.